Hey guys, hey, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm gonna do a quick video talking about Fat Joe. So Fat Joe is the faker Heavy D. Okay, Heavy D and Fat Joe has always been the same person, never in the same room, and you would think that they would be in the same room, since they came up in basically the same era. They always hung around the same people, but never was in a room. So Heavy D. He died November 8th, 2011, and he's a Jamaican American rapper. Fat Joe is just this Puerto Rican rapper. People thought Fat Joe and Havidi were the same race. I did too, but they're two different races. Made up races, most likely. A lot of these people do not even be the race that they say they are. Case in point, Aaliyah's new character, Natalie, her name, when you look at it, you'll think like, oh, she's from like, the islands, or she's like Latina descent, or like mixed Afro Latina, but not at all. She's from France or somewhere. But I'm not sure where she's from, so I'm probably wrong. But yeah, so the heights are pretty much the same. Fat Joe is 6'1" and Heavy D is 6'2", same exact height, honestly. The thing that convinced me the most with this, and the reason why I even decided to make this video, so I was listening to Fat Joe's song Another Round with Chris Brown, right? And I never noticed, but why in the beginning did he have RIP Heavy D? Like not everyone was putting that, and we've never seen Heavy D and Fat Joe in the same room together. So why in the hell was you mentioning that? Like, I'll understand if Mary J. Blige or Diddy put that in their newer songs during that time, but you were never with him. Y'all were around the same people, but never together, and that's very weird. So when I seen that in this music video, I was like, that's just downright just like mockery. Putting himself in the beginning of this music video, saying RIP to him, his character, you know. So someone made this good tweet, and I like this tweet. They says, "Guys, have we seen Heavy D and Fat Joe in the same place at the same time?" Question mark. We have not, and that's very weird to me. So here go Fat Joe and Diddy, of course, and here go Heavy D and Diddy. So another thing we need to point out is their weight thing and their names. Fat Joe, Heavy D, it's in their names, heavy, fat, and it's a lot of context clues with this one. And of course, they have the sky background. I told you guys already what sky means. They take all these people. All these people always have to put a sky in something. All it signifies is really just invertedness. Okay, and here we go again. And of course, the colors that Heavy D is wearing, the pink and the blue. Then he got Diddy wearing a white. Of course, this whole picture was staged. Invertedness, of course. Here we go again. Erica Badu, always in the field, always in the pictures. Erica's a man. I just have to keep repeating that to you guys. That is a man, and Heavy D is a female. And there they go together. And just so happened that Fat Joe and Erica performed together, right? And what is Erica throwing up? Their little hand gesture, right? Okay. All right. And she has a pink, white, and blue going on. So she has a pink little fur at the top, and then the white under the pink, and then she has the blue going on in the outfit, of course. So yeah, this is Heavy D, and towards the end of his career, he was losing weight, and that's funny because Fat Joe has lost a tremendous amount of weight. So of course they're losing weight around the same time, and then he dies off, So they said that Heavy D died of a blood clot. Okay, that's people have that in regular life, and that happens. So they just threw something random out there. I don't think no one really cared that Heavy D died. I mean, at least my age group, we didn't really care that Heavy D died. It was just like, oh, that guy died. But he really didn't die. It was all fake. It was all fake. And here we go. Fat Joe with Mary J. Blige, and here we go, Heavy D with Mary J. Blige, right? And there we go again. They're hugging. Her face looks hella weird right here, but I mean, it's because he's hugging her probably. Yeah, and here we go again. Heavy D is with Beyonce. Mary J's here, and of course Jay-Z's here. Alright, so before I end this video off, a few more characters that I do believe is involved in this is Sinbad. Okay, Sinbad looks exactly like them to me. That is just my personal view of this. I really didn't go too far into looking into it. A lot of people see this one already. I've always thought that they were the same person. Sinbad is just skinnier, that's it, and his nose is just slightly different than theirs, that's it. But he does give me the same vibe of them, and I cannot unsee it. It's insane to me. And here you go, Heavy D right here, and here you go, Sinbad. They look exactly alike to me for some odd reason. And another guy that I do think is involved in this is Fred. He's a gospel singer. Like I've said before, gospel singers and these pastors and these, all those religious-based leaders are very much involved. It's obvious as day. None of them are real. Kirk Franklin is fake. Joel Osteen, I've made a video about that. Go check that out. TD Jakes, he's another one. Conscious X will be making a video about that. It's just, they're all just fake. All those big main ones, those big mainstream pastors and stuff and singers, they be fake. They're fake. They're automatically just a fake character. Even the local ones are fake too. They're involved in occults such as masonry and other crisis actors, just involved in stuff, and they can be playing a role too in your everyday life too. So yeah, so I do believe that he is one of the other characters. Like, if you look at this, you see Heavy D, I see Heavy D. I think that Heavy D character is placed in a lot of these other characters. So here you go again. He looks exactly like them to me. Here we go again. Now, one thing I want to point out is that fat men, shout out to the person that said this in my comment section, I really like this. Fat men don't exist. Now, when we say don't exist, I'm not saying that they're not real people walking around. Yeah, you're going to see them, but the idea of them being men or a man is questionable. Man being fat is a very rare thing, okay? I don't know where we got the notion of, oh, it's all right for a man to be fat. Oh my God, these fat men, If you know anatomy, we know that men are lean, okay? The male's built is lean, okay? And the feminine built is more created for being fat-based, like more of body fat, okay? And obviously with that anatomy, it goes into childbirth and all the other stuff is the reason why women anatomy is different than male anatomy and all the other stuff. So when you see these men who are being oversized, big, you probably know a few fat guys in your life, you really have to question a lot of things. And if they ever lose weight, which I've seen people that were super big in life that I went to school with, like guys, and they lose weight and they start having women shape, okay? Like the woman type hips and, looking at the anatomy of people is really important, okay? There's a lot of inverts, okay? And when I say inverts, I mean people who are not the gender that they presume that they are. I will have a video about that on Patreon because talking about invertedness is very important because a lot of people are inverted and don't even know it sometimes in life. You can go look this stuff up. So a lot of people, we've been programmed by society that it was acceptable to see a fat male and all this other stuff, but we have to realize that that is a rarity. That is that's almost impossible for a male to actually be fat, okay? And that's why there was always a societal program like that we already had to bully them. If you watched any of the old movies or anything back in the day, they bullied the fat males, okay? And, and they'll bully like the skinny females in movies. But we have to understand, why were they doing that? Did they know that that wasn't genetically possible for a person to be like that? And they tried to program us again by saying, oh, we need to accept everybody for who they are. And then they're making these fat celebrities to make us accept these fat, like the idea of fatness, okay? And the idea that a male is supposed to, like, trying to make us accept this picture right here, that it's okay. This is not okay. This is fake. This is mockery. This is them just making a joke of all of us. And they're trying to make it okay. They're repeatedly showing us these fatter celebrities to create an image in our head that it's okay. It's okay to be, and this goes for women too. They'll create people like Lizzo to make it seem like, it's okay to be unhealthy and to not care about yourself, just eat anything inside and just be big. They'll make you consider that that is good, but that is not healthy at all. No one wants to be in that shape or form in their life. They try to promote that to make it okay? And we just need to be logically there in our minds that that is not okay? That is your health that you're talking about. That is your health that you're playing with. So we just need to realize that. And I was recently watching Super Size Me. And a lot of things that we eat and a lot of things that's given to us is like just doing something to our genetic makeup, making us bigger than what we should be, or just making us, all these other things. But the bottom line is, shout out to that person that commented about how fat men don't exist. That is a true statement. It is very questionable. And when I say fat, I mean obese males. Okay, I'm not talking about any guy that's kind of built or like have a little weight on him. That's different. I'm talking about extremely obese males. Okay, that's a female. Okay, that is a female. There are inverts among you. Okay, and we just need to realize that. Like, look at this. This is, And of course, so yeah, look at this, This is just obsessively, especially Pond right here, just excessively big for no reason. And in the background, there's a 3, of course. They love doing this stuff. And right here, see, none of these characters have ever been together. And the mockery with it is that Sinbad was on Living Color, right? He was a professor, if I'm not mistaken. And Heavy D guest starred on there, but you never seen them together. There's no picture of them. There's no nothing of them together, okay? These two guys, Fat Joe and Heavy D, never been together. The pastor and all of them, never been together. And that is just very suspicious for a lot of these people that just look alike. You would think that they'll be together, especially Sinbad and Heavy D. You would think that they'll be together, okay? So it says, Fat Joe remembers falling hip hop pioneer Heavy D, okay? And he says, I never told him how much he influenced me. Well, of course he influenced you because he is you. And then right here, this page said, look, Fat Joe celebrates Heavy D plus Patti LaBelle's birthday. Why would you celebrate another person's birthday? I don't know. This tweet said, Fat Joe looks like Heavy D in ADW episode. Then it says Heavy D and Fat Joe look alike. Fat Joe out here looking like the new Heavy D. This says, yo, I thought Sinbad was dead this whole time, but I was actually thinking about Heavy D. Yeah, me too. Well, this person said, I'm so dumb. Don't call yourself that. I thought Heavy D and Sinbad were the same people. And that's funny because they are. And it has a lot of people thinking, oh, damn, like who died, Sinbad and Heavy D were related when I was younger. I thought they were the same person when I was younger. And then right here, this says Heavy D, Sinbad, and Fred ain't cousins, question mark. No, they're all the same fucking person. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching.